Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Kirby's Dream Land 2. In the last part we beat Worlds 3 and 4, now we're in World 5, Red Canyon. Wasn't that the name of a stage in Sonic Adventure 1? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? That was the stage with the really smooth jazz track and lava raising, wasn't it? And this world has, I believe, 5 levels in it, so we're in here for a bit, actually. In fact, we're here for this entire part. And off-screen, I actually went and sucked in one of those knights in the last world and got the Cutter ability. Cutter is more or less a boomerang. It goes forward and then comes backwards, and you can jump over it. Later games would add the ability for it to also track onto you, so it'll still follow you even if you jump. Now, as you can see, if you do it at the right timing, it makes this boss really easy. But I immediately want to ditch it for Spark, because I want Spark to partner with Rick for what's coming up. Rick Spark is actually known as Beam in later games. It's the same ability as Beam. And you're going to want it because it's some of the only ways you can destroy certain blocks. Also, Rick can just barely make these jumps, so watch out for that. And one thing that's actually really annoying about a lot of Kirby's Dream Land 2, and a lot of Kirby games in general, is that a lot of rooms can't be backtracked to unless you replay the stage. So, if, say, I died here, I'd lose Rick and Spark, and if I wanted Rick for something else, I'd have to go back to the stage and get him again. And I'm not a fan of that stuff. In most cases. In Kirby's Dream Land 1, it doesn't matter because that game has no copy system to begin with, but in some games, that's just flat out annoying. Like, Kirby's Return to Dreamland, from what I saw of it, had a lot of that stuff going on. Squeak Squad had it, not Squeak Squad, Amazing Mirror had it to some extent, because there was a lot of one-way paths. But at least that game was Metroid-like, so I can understand why they did that, because even Metroid had a lot of one-way paths. Oh god. One thing I could say about Rick is that he's a bit faster than Kirby. And because that he feels like he controls a lot more loosely, meaning you can die a lot more easily from jumping with him. I don't know what it is about Kirby music though, listening to it. It's great music, yes, but like I've heard some orchestrated renditions of a lot of Kirby music, and it doesn't work in a lot of cases because Kirby music is so fast and upbeat, it feels like it doesn't work with an orchestra or even most real instruments, you know what I mean? Like, imagine an orchestrated version of the Kirby Invincibility theme, which isn't in this game, I believe. And it just doesn't work in a lot of cases. But themes like the Fountain of Dreams, which are, you know, supposed to be orchestra anyway, it works with especially. So I guess I could say is the rare orchestrated song in this series really works, but in a lot of cases it shouldn't. Mind you, I don't know why I'm bringing that up in an 8-bit game, but if I was playing Return to Dreamland, that'd make a lot more sense to complain about. Or not really complain about, talk about. Either way, you're gonna want needles coming up here, so get that. Oh, and I should probably mention something. On the end of the last stage, you saw that night enemy. The night enemies cannot be sucked up at all. So you need to damage them with something. So either have an ability on standby, or what I just did there, actually, that little puff ball that Kirby spits out after flying, that can damage enemies if you don't have a normal ability. And here's the Cutter mini-boss, a ninja. The thing you spit back at him is not stars, but instead that little cutter he just threw there. Though I find this boss really annoying because for some reason I can never read what he's going to do unless he does that. That star always goes about 2 bounces in front of them and then heads straight up. So it's very easy to read with that attack, but everything else I can never tell what he's going to do. Mind you, it's like I haven't played Kirby as much as other series. And now we got Kirby, Cutter and Kirby mixed with Coup, which is my favorite ability in the game. Because you got 3 boomerangs that go at different altitudes, and this is really good, and I'm going to lose it in like 20 seconds if I recall correctly. Oh well. Auto-scrolling sections in this game are actually kind of dickish at times, because there are paths you wouldn't know you should take until it's too late. One coming up in here especially just annoys the shit out of me. Here it is. You don't know that you should head down that second pit, but now I do. I'm like, oh god, go, 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 crud. Dead. I hate that kind of design. I know why it's there. It's an auto-scroller. You're supposed to stay ahead of the screen so you don't get into situations like that. But in my mentality with the way games work, by the way, get into this door because the screen doesn't stop scrolling. My mentality, it should be like Mega Man, where if it's an auto-scroller, when they're rare in that series, they should always be at a pace where you can stay at the center of the screen and still be able to see what's going on ahead. And this stage is interesting. In fact, it's the best place to get animal buddies, because each one of these doors leads to one of these knights that you can't kill without having an attack, or just blowing air in their face. And each one of the doors leads to a different animal buddy. The one in the middle leads to Ku, the one on the left leads to Kai, and the one on the right leads to Rick. And you can actually tell that based off of the position of the door, because one's in midair, one's in water, and one's on land. And I want Ku for what's coming up, because he can fly. Because I really like flying. Flight is such a broken game ability when you have unlimited access to it. Like, I immediately think of Sonic 06. I have no idea how I just lost Ku there. Because I didn't press select, unless something happened with life that I wasn't paying attention to. But either way, yeah, it's Sonic 06, the purple gem. More or less gave you unlimited flight, and it really broke Sonic's campaign. Mind you, you couldn't get it until like right before the last level, but if you do New Game Plus, or replay stages, it's really absurd what you can do with it. Mind you, if I recall correctly, I also just didn't code the special bar properly in that game. Or at least for Sonic. For Silver it works, and for Shadow it works. I do recommend whenever you see a star, try and go for it, because more extra lives is always good. But like I mentioned back in, I think it was X5, whenever you see an extra life, or something like that, only go for it the first 2 times in gaming. Why? Or at least, no, that's what I do. I always only go for it twice. Because the first time, it gives me an extra life. The second time, I get the life I lost back. The third time, I'm just losing net lives here, so it's not worth it. That's always been my mentality in games. If I ever do AVGN Adventures, you'll especially see me do it in that. Because AVGN Adventures is hard. I wonder how the second one is. I actually haven't tried that out yet. Oh yeah, that AVGN Mega Man video happened, didn't it? I completely forgot the PC games existed. Well, the DOS games existed. Because I played one of those. I think it was the second one, Mega Man 3, a long time ago, and I remember not liking it then. Plus, the final boss is just wacky. Mind you, Mega Man 3 DOS, if I recall correctly, is less broken than Mega Man 1 DOS. But it's where Sharkman came from, so we got that from Battle Network. We got that in Battle Network, at least. Anyway, Red Canyon as a world is pretty blandly themed. It's just a lot of bottomless pits over rocks. Or rocks over bottomless pits. Because, you know, canyons, falls, woo. But then again, I'm never a fan of themes like this. And here's the Spike mini-boss, even though it's just a gigantic Gordo. This guy is very easy, though, especially this one. Later versions of him get a bit faster with replenishing his spikes after he either throws them off at you, or if he loses them after bumping into a wall. But as you can see, he doesn't really do much aside from move sporadically, so you should not lose to him. Plus, he looks like something out of Bejeweled when he loses his spikes. And there's Rick. Rick spikes, I don't remember being too useful. Yeah, you can only damage behind you, so it's not useful at all to me. But Rick Fire is. You know, it's odd. Rick Fire in this game is actually closer to what the fire ability will be in later games, because the meteor effect is a different effect in Kirby's Adventure and Return and Nightmare in Dreamland. And a lot of, I think it was Amazing Mirror onwards, or whatever came before Amazing Mirror, but before, or after Nightmare in Dreamland, made it so that a lot of abilities had more than one effect. In fact, they made them so they all have more than one effect, which really helped the game series in my eyes, because then you could do a lot more with one thing. Though high jump is still broken. I swear by that. Also, Rick with something in his mouth is just adorable. Mind you, it's like Kirby's adorable series in general. Aside from 64's final boss, that is kind of frightening. Then again, Kirby final bosses in general, from Dreamland 3 onwards, can get really disturbing. Oh, and these enemies, I forget what they're called, but they've been in a lot of Kirby games since the first one, if I recall. And in this game in particular, their explosion when you kill them stays around a bit too long for my tastes. I don't know why exactly it feels like it does, but it definitely does in this stage to me. You know, at this point, I'm happy I consistently get a max tomato at least because, if you haven't noticed it at this point, Kirby's life does not replenish in between stages. It's one solid health bar throughout, so if you want to heal, you need to get those abilities right. Either way, I'm heading back into 5-3 at this point. Why? Because I want to get something. I want to get Rick. And after that, I'm going to head back to 5-1 and get Spark. Because you really want Spark with Rick in this stage. Why? Well, notice how we're in the final level of World 5. And we haven't gotten the rainbow drop yet. I think most of the rainbow drops are actually hidden in either the halfway point or the final stage of a lot of them. I can't recall, though. Because Kirby's Dream Land 2, while it's a fun game, it kind of blends together with itself over time because a lot of the stages are so samey. I mean, at least every world has its own little color palette going on. Kind of like how Mega Man Worlds 1 through 5 on the Game Boy Color worked. But that's just how Kirby works a lot of the time. Until 64. 64 onwards made a lot of the levels individually interesting. Before that, though, they kind of just are samey and don't blend together well in my eyes. Either way, 2 doors here. The left leads to a tomato, I believe, so we want to head through the right for progress. And I hate this vertical scrolling segment. Because one thing I haven't brought up about Kirby's Dream Land 2 at this point is that Kirby suffers a lot of knockback, especially when he's by himself and in midair. Also, I just fail at platforming sometimes. But one thing you'll see a lot in this game if you're playing it and you're in midair and you get hit, Kirby gets knocked back like 2 feet, and you can't recover from that for a second or two. I mean, if you get hit when you're low on the screen, you're probably not going to be able to recover until after you're in the bottomless pit. And I hate that. Knockback is something I'm fine with in gaming. I mean, I play a lot of Castlevania 1, so I'm extremely used to it, but it annoys me. There's actually another door higher than the one I just entered where the rainbow drop is, but I need Rick with Spark for that, so I need to replay the level. But hey, at least I can do one of my favorite tricks in Kirby. Whenever you get rock or stone, destroy everything in your path. That felt good. That felt real good. And that's the final level of World 5, yes, but I want to do some stuff first, because 5-3 is pretty convenient for something. Well, first off, I also want to go get that rainbow drop. First off, I want to head in here and get Rick. And after getting him, I'm going to leave the stage and then come back in again and again to this room. Why? You remember the blob I was talking about earlier? Well, occasionally, and it's very rare, you'll find a female one. As I mentioned last part, that gives you an extra life. However, finding her at least once counts for 1% in your file, so a lot of people will get stuck at 99% not knowing that she counts. In fact, on GameFAQs, when I was doing some research before doing this LP, almost everyone, there were a lot of people who made questions on GameFAQs talking about, what is this last percent I'm missing? And more often than not, it was her. And now you need Rick with Spark to come over here to get this rainbow drop, number 5. 2 left. And with that, that's every level in World 5, so let's head on over to the boss after I make a jump cut right now. And the World 5 boss is something that people who played Kirby's Adventure and Kirby's Nightmare and Dreamland will actually recognize. This is, I forget their names actually, Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright, I believe. 2 hits, or some amount of hits, 2 or 4 with each, will take them down pretty easily. However, unlike Kirby's Dreamland 1, or Nightmare and Dreamland Adventure, they actually still do attacks very often when you knock one out. Like this screen nuke that reminds me a lot of Mega Man ZX1. It's actually a very easy boss. In fact, I'd say it's probably the easiest out of the bosses, the world bosses, next to Wispy Woods. But it can give you trouble if you don't know what you're doing, because they actually have a good amount of attacks. And that's the end of Red Canyon. And there's World 6 there, but I want to head back in and do the bonus round as usual. And this is one of the longer bonus rounds, if I recall, because the way it works is the stars come out of Mr. Shine, I believe is the sun. However, he also fires out lasers every now and then. And while you're dodging his lasers and collecting the stars from him, you need to dodge Mr. Bright. Or whichever one's which, I don't know. It's been a while since I played Nightmare in Dreamland and whatever games other than that they appeared in. So yeah, this one can take a while, but at least it's something engaging because you have a lot to keep in mind, or a lot to keep track of. And as with the previous bonus round, the stars bounce twice and then fall off the screen, so you have to be pretty quick about that. Or you can just get hit and end it off prematurely. Well then, either way with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 6, or no, part 4, we'll be heading to World 6. See you guys then!